is when I have to kind of take a audit, and that's not even what I want to talk about today. But I can see we're heading in that direction where it's time to take an audit. And so I'm grabbing the other devices just to make sure that we did land in the right places because I had to hit so many buttons to get this thing started. And so I do want to make sure that we are on. I see, okay, we're there, we're here, we're there, we're everywhere. Oh, tell you the truth. Good morning. Let me tell you, I had an alarm set over there. Okay. I already know what the word is of the day, but then I'm like, wait a minute, because you just said something else. But I really want to talk about proximity, y'all. My proximity, write that down. I got to get that in. I got to get that in. And then tomorrow we can talk about doing an audit. Let's just get today done. How about that? Oh, did I not just say a word? Let's just concentrate on today. And the word proximity, I just started to think about it yesterday. We had one of the first like nice hot days. The temperature. We've had so much rain. We've had so much of bouncing back and forth, the warm, cool, hot. And yesterday was that day where everybody realized it was going to be one of those days. And it was inclination of the long hot summer. It was like, okay, there's too many people and you probably in too many places. And so I had to go about the city. Let me see, hold on. Okay, I'm watching, getting messages. You know how every time you go live, people start sending you messages. Everybody want to tell you something. I've been sitting here, devices ain't said nothing. And as soon as I go live, here comes, in fact, let me just put my D&D on. Let's just do that. Let's just put the D&D on. Everybody want to call, and send comments and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to go over here and I've got to do a couple of shares. But I really want, and even as I'm talking about this, one of the news stations is live on Periscope, and this is exactly what I want to talk about. It's like we only had one day, y'all. This country has got to do something, and the news is on television. I've got that muted, and on as I pick up my devices to go and share the podcast out, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. So many bad things happened yesterday, but I was out blogging some of the good things. So luckily for that, I get to have a great memories on this, but not everybody. We gotta, y'all, I'm telling you, let me go into this thing here and get this thing done. I'm telling you, y'all, this is whew, I don't know what to tell you. Except for all I could think about was proximity. All I could think about was proximity, your proximity to this stuff. Thankfully, you woke up, you went out, or we. Hopefully, y'all can agree and y'all in accordance with what I'm saying, okay? Hopefully, we all woke up and we all went out and supported something positive yesterday, and we have wonderful experiences of supporting our community, and we have wonderful experiences of loving our family, addressing everything, just great food. I went to a taste event yesterday, and I couldn't even grab good pictures of food. I mean, it was like the I didn't understand. But that's a marketing branding thing that people just don't understand all the well, and plus I got there later in the afternoon where everybody was like tired and beat. I probably should have got there way early, and then I could have seen everybody's presentation. But I did find some amazing things to eat and sample. I did do that, and did have a good time because I went actually to blog with the cast. As you know, I'm embedded in a theater production to bring you all the kind of behind the scenes exclusive. What it takes to bring a musical to a theater, and to grow an audience and a cast and all of that. So I'm blogging with them, and so I got a chance to, as they did a little bit of a flash mob kind of thing for the taste event. Taste of Marietta is where I was. If you're in the area, you'll know. That's where I was, and so I was. Let me see. I'm trying to get one more share in here, guys. I was at that event, and so I had. Let me see if I can. Can I do another? Let me see. Can I do another? Can I do it in a couple places? Okay, cool. Let's go do it like that too. All right, so you're just getting a couple of watch parties started. So I was there, and Attended a jazz festival on Saturday, which was good because it was not the larger stuff. I always like to go and blog at the smaller things. So I went to the jazz festival, which is probably going to grow because it was in its third year, but that was in the proximity to my neighborhood. And then I went to the taste event, which is proximity, which is one of my Buzz partners, a supporter of DryerBuzz, Marietta's new theater in the square. They were participating, so I went to that. And proximity kept me out of proximity of being around those. But I don't know, y'all, I'm telling you, yesterday when I got home, it was one of those things when I got home and I turned on the news and I got in late, so it was like a replay of the news, and I was like, oh my God, when I saw all this stuff. Now, man, and anytime you turn on the news, you're gonna see these things happening, and they're going to be, crazy and the worst, so the news is gonna give you the worst. But what I have come to learn, even though the news is giving you the worst, if the news is able to find enough stories to fill their cycle, that means that there's more out there. That means they just simply chose those. Even because we seem to think that, oh, well, that was on news, just one, it's just that area. No, it meant yesterday was a hot day. People became crazy, and they did all kind of crazy things. Hey, Drea, and the stories what you have to be worried about is the stories that didn't make the news. Your neighbors over there wilding out, such and such came to your house, and all of this stuff. And so I want to talk about proximity in that realm, but I also want to talk about proximity in other realms as well. When you're thinking about opportunities that you're looking for, when you're thinking about the work that you want to do, your life's work, your purpose, when you're thinking about planning and all of that, at the beginning of the day, not notice I didn't say at the end of the day, at the beginning of the day, it starts with your proximity. It starts with one, getting out of bed. Getting out of bed and getting into proximity to where it is you want to be. Hey there. It starts with getting out of bed with your confidence. Well, if you don't have your confidence, proximity to confident people, proximity to productive people, proximity to productive purpose. Proximity is so important. I sat in on a class, and I was there to speak about social media. And prior to my introduction, we had a little bit of class on proximity, talking about proximity, how, especially with social media, you want to use these things to get to proximity. You want to get close. We want to get closer. You want to get close, y'all. I'm telling you. And you have to think about that. I don't even know if I don't even know if I even should keep talking, because I'm only going to reiterate your proximity. It's your proximity. And oftentimes, look at that. And I'm looking at the news and this story, and I'm like, my proximity to that particular venue, it's crazy. And I'm like, is this about to be our summer? And you better think it is. You better know it is. Because yesterday I was out. After I left the tasting, I went into downtown Atlanta. And I'm like, this is just not good proximity right now. Because all the motorcycle riders were out. The street riders were out. Those are the ones with the loud motorbikes that should be on the dirt bikes. They were out. Hey, Glory. Look at that. UGA student shot in armed robbery. I was like, okay, it's not a good time to be in this area. And I said, okay, I ended up, look at that, police looking for a sports vehicle in connection to school bus shooting. I'm like, thank God I slept in late. Proximity. I'm like, okay, I need proximity. I need proximity to my house. And then I was thinking, like, and then I remember yesterday I was talking about, I have a neighbor that wants to invite all her family over, and they're not the best, right? And it's like, come on, honey. And I switched to this news channel because they usually talk about more stuff going on in the community. And they're on their third or fourth shooting story. Man shot at a fast food restaurant. And that was out on the east side. And I'm like, okay, so I maintain a level of proximity to the east side, first and foremost, right? A woman killed in a crash. Husband now charged with a death. I'm like, I don't get it, y'all. I need to turn the news off, but I need to plan my proximity. Whenever it gets hot, crime goes up. Right. So you know what I'm looking for? I'm like, where is it cold? Where is winter? Winter. I don't have time for winter. We so look forward to summer. Here come another story at a cookout. Oh Lord. Here come another story. So my proximity to the cookouts, I'm gonna maintain a level of proximity to cookouts. I'm just going to maintain the proximity, especially now because so many people are concerned about holding. In fact, the young gentleman was telling me the other night he got robbed leaving work. He said he was leaving work and dude stopped trying to ask him directions or something like that, and then tried to take his wallet. And I'm like, he was like, dude, I can't give you, please just take the money. Let me keep my wallet because there's nothing that they're going to serve you and I would have to go and start all over and all this kind of stuff, right? You have been busy this past weekend. Hey, Henry, I have. But now I'm like, shoot, I'm trying to get back out and blog in some of these things. And luckily, I chose the right things. I have to go with, we better go somewhere. And I think about people who do that, who move around, who they spend their summers in one place and winters. They move around seasonally. And so proximity. While I wanted to come in and talk about proximity to success and proximity to purpose, and I'm like, it's bad to be, because look at the young man. There was a story I heard on the sports station last night. The young man that was just in the NFL draft, went to the celebration, and a teammate got killed, and he is now in the hospital with a gunshots. Even though they said that it's non-life threatening, he's gonna survive. But yeah, he's gonna head off to practice. He's gonna head off to his new team, and his new money, and his new life. Okay, after working so hard, one guy's not even going because he's dead. But then here he's coming, having been shot up, and I'm like, and I know even if it was a brazen or I don't know what his wounds are. They just said non-life threatening. But you go to the draft and then you go to celebrate, and this happens. Proximity, y'all. And things happen. Let me tell this story. Let me give a story. I remember some opportunities coming to me, right? Getting some opportunities, and I remember not moving fast enough and saying yes and doing what the opportunities required. And waiting, hesitant, just being hesitant and not understanding, like, this is it. This is that move. This is that move. Go. And we don't go. Also, we don't go fast enough. We don't allow doors to close fast enough because new doors are opening. You see it, right? And we don't to go fast enough. So then there are things that are disruptions that are happening in our lives to push us, to propel us forward. We talked about that. If they decide to keep him, they will find loopholes to get rid. They'll probably keep him because let me tell you, they understand. They clearly understand that they are saving some of these lives. Some of these young men, they know that they're bringing these young men out of the brink of things, and they'll just let them know, hey, here are the rules. Here are the rules you must abide by. But most of these people, they go into these young men's lives with their savior mentality anyway, because they know that they've had hardships and hard lives, even, especially trying to survive through college to even get to that, to even get to the point where they can leave and go pro because of the things that have gone on in their lives. So they know that, which is why they offer what they offer. They know that that's the golden ticket, the golden carrot, and all that kind of stuff. So and even the proximity of being on a team and away from your community, things still can happen because there are people who leech onto these people, these players, these teams. That's why they try to have all these things in place so that you don't bring your crew. But still, the thing about it is, even in the proximity, I'm sitting here now trying to find the escape, and there's some situations you can't escape because even just becoming that successful, even the rabbi, y'all, the rabbi was was caught up. Let me Goldstein, Poway Synagogue. Even the rabbi got caught up this weekend. Okay, that's what I'm saying. It's like, oh Lord, they talking about Facebook, Twitter. Oh, wait a minute. Let me see what this is. Hold on. Let's see what this is. Okay, that was a shooting at the synagogue. I'm just proximity. You got to check your proximity. And here I am. I'm trying to tell you to get out of bed and go explore some things, go do something new and different, and check your proximity. Now is the time to gauge. I can't even write down another word. Only thing I have on this blank page is proximity. Proximity. We are too valuable. We are doing too much good. We've got to get these stories out there. Now, this is what everybody is seeing today. All news stories all across the hot nation. Okay, I'm trying to figure out. Look, I may only leave the house at 60 degrees. I'm just saying, because 80 degrees was not good. 70 degrees, that 70-degree day was perfect. It was wonderful. That 80, 10 more degrees, and everything changed. Everything changed at an additional 10 degrees. I'm like, what is going on? And after I left the tasting, I was like, okay, I got notifications. There's all kind of things going. And I'm thinking, okay, well, that was pretty good. I'll run around and get some video and get some photos and things like that. And I'm like, I can't even get. I try to go one area and there's a police situation. I'm like, okay, let me just go to another area. Police situation. Let's see what goes to church. Barbecue expected to be shot. I'm telling you, all kinds of expectation. But I don't know. I don't know what else to tell you but to check your proximity to some of this stuff and to people that these things are going on. And that's what I saw a post yesterday. Somebody said, well, dang, if you can't go to church, and if you can't go to school and you can't go, I just remember when we were growing up, there were things to just put in place to keep us safe. And I grew up in Atlanta. I survived the missing and murdered children. But there was always, in times when we couldn't, mull about the city, there were things brought closer to us. Okay, well, we can't do this anymore, so let's do this. Or, you had alternatives. And I just wonder about those alternatives today. I just wonder about not even our young people. I just wonder about us as a whole on society. I'm like, for real though, where is winter? Wherever winter went, that's where I want to go. Where is it still 30 degrees? Where is it still 40 degrees? Because 80 degrees in Atlanta, and I really expected to wake up this morning. Well, it might have happened. I slept through it, but I really expect somebody a press conference or something to fix, because one, Atlanta has so much spotlight on it now. We're getting ready to host so many events and things like that, and it needs to be of concern because they need to recognize that people aren't just staying in the hotel. So trying to make the hotel areas safe. People are staying in Airbnbs. They're staying all over the city. And they're staying, and a lot of people are running these Airbnbs. And they're not thinking about the proximity of those Airbnbs to crime areas, because people think, hey, you make it look good, get some good pictures, people are going to want to stay there, and luckily there's a review system, but still proximity. And we're talking about something that has pretty much laid dormant through the cold. Oh Lord, the temperature 79 to 80 degrees today. You're talking about something that lies dormant and then comes up, so it's really hard to gauge the proximity. And I think, and then never mind the fact that they talking about bringing Freaknik back. We're gonna have a Freaknik festival. Proximity, y'all. Proximity. I really had intended for proximity to be something different in the conversation. Getting proximity, getting to that person who's doing what you're doing, getting around like minds, getting into a think tank, getting into associations, getting into chambers, business chambers, those kind of things. Getting your proximity to the industry that's related to what it is that you're trying to do. All of those different things. That's what I really wanted to talk about on proximity. But I mean, it's like, oh my God, at this point I don't know what to say. And I guess I could write down some of it. I mean, that's proximity association. Let's play a little bit of word or something. Proximity meaning your association. Where are you associating with? I'm gonna write down industry, even though I'm trying to stay on topic. I'm gonna write down industry. We'll come back to that later. Proximity associations, industries. your mentor. Who's your mentor? Even if you don't know that person, who is it that you are dialing into when you come and get on your devices? You're going and dialing into their content, trying to get on topic here. Who are you? I'm gonna put down events because events such as like conferences and things like that. I'm gonna write that down too. Especially right now, it's conference time. There was a hair show yesterday, and everybody was like, "Well, DryerBuzz, you're not at the hair show." I know the website's called DryerBuzz. I know, but I'm not all that crazy about the hair shows because I don't like them. I don't like the way hair shows are served to African American women. When you look at how expos are done across the spectrum, y'all, I want y'all to write that down because we need to dial in on spectrum and because that's what we're talking about. Realm, okay. I know that's a word to do with Game of Thrones, but I want y'all to think about spectrum and realm because in all of our conversations about how to get out of bed, we're talking about where we are in our spectrum, in our industries, in our associations. Okay, we're talking about the realm, the larger of the things, but then you got to bring it down to where you are on those spectrums. So we're talking about proximity. I see a new cycle of people coming in as we are about 22 minutes into this. We're talking about proximity, and I was talking about proximity yesterday. We had a very hot day in Atlanta. Rashad Richie jumped on. Hey, Rashad. And in fact, I can tie this word proximity to Rashad because it was sitting in on one of Rashad's classes where he talked about proximity, and that fed so much into what I was trying to do because I began to look at my proximity, and as I get ready to come back into some of this stuff. So when we're talking about associations, industries, mentors, events, and conferences, all of those different positive things that you trying to do, where is it on the spectrum? Where is what based on your proximity? Where are you on the spectrum within the realm? Because as you can see, there are people out there who can work so hard but still have the wrong proximities, and things happen. Things happen that keep them from being productive on their purpose, for enjoying their success, achieving their goals. A lot of times it has to do with that. If you're getting out of bed and you're going into a realm of negativity, okay, then you're probably wondering and trying to figure out, well, how do you get it done? There's nobody to encourage you. I remember coming up, like when you think about technology, when I came into technology, there was not a lot. It was brand spanking new across the globe, but depending on your proximity, like everybody thinks you need to have a proximity to Silicon Valley, right? Or Simi Valley. I said Simi Valley, right? And then you had to have, if you were dealing with, here in Atlanta, if you're dealing with coming up in education, if you look at our education system, which feeds all of our young minds, if you look at where a child is educated in their proximity to what the agenda is for that particular area. One area is sports, one area is engineering, one area is music and band, and another area, is this, that, and the other. And based on that proximity, if you're in that area, if you're in a band area, you're trying to do the sports, you're not going to be nurtured, right? If you're in the area that's sports and you're trying to do engineering, you're probably not going to get nurtured, right? So the same thing, if you're with a company, if you're in a company and you're trying to move up and they don't have any ways for you to, any vertical ways for you to increase yourself, guess what? You're not in proximity to what it is you want to be and what it is you want to do, right? Depending on where you wake up. How many of you woke up and then you had to go and do that 45-minute, 50-mile drive because you want to work in proximity to one thing, but you want to live in proximity to another? I know people who literally do drive an hour, 2-3 hours one way because they go one place to go get their money, but then they want to live and exist in another place. I know people, they fly into Atlanta and then damn if they don't have then take a 2-hour drive because they don't want to be nowhere near the airport, even though they use the airport frequently. They don't want to be anywhere near the airport. They don't want to be anywhere in proximity to the city limits of Atlanta. They fly in and still have to do a 2 hour drive because of the proximity. And I'm like, what is this? Why do you do this and then expect somebody else to do it with you? Because it's something about getting to that peace of mind in that proximity. It's something about getting to that peace of mind, y'all. And I'm going to write that down. Peace of mind. How many of you on yesterday with all that stuff going on and you went out and you went and did all these things in the city and then you were like, okay, I can't wait to get home to my peace of mind. And then you get home and there's street cars all over your street cars all over your block. Folks hanging out a little too long. You want to go in your domicile. We had a conversation. I was driving through the neighborhood and I saw one neighbor, and I drove down one particular street, and I thought I saw this odd thing where they had kind of done some things to outline their property line, right? But they had put these real unattractive, people who think about property value. I was like, that's a bit extreme. They had put these cinder blocks, not flowers, not hedges, not bushes, not they didn't cut the grass a certain way. They literally had placed these cinder blocks, like cinder blocks down the property line, and lo and behold, stuck a no trespassing sign on it. So I went into one of the neighborhood groups and I was like, y'all, what's going on? On this particular street. And then as I drove through, I know that's the first thing I noticed. Like, whoa, why are they? And I thought, okay, well maybe they're getting ready to have some work done along the property line. But then when I saw the no trespassing sign, I'm like, whoa, there must be some issues going on between the two neighbors. So on the drive back, I saw the coming up on my side there, and then I noticed at the house next door to them, there were some things going on in the front yard that should take place in the backyard. Thinking property value, right? And then I noticed the front yard was the front porch was filled with young men. And flags, all kind of flags went up, right? And there was a lot of activity because when I first drove by, I saw a little kid out in the front yard, just tossing football around. And I'm like, okay, ooh, okay, cool. I'm not cool. I'm like, I saw the cinder blocks, I saw the kid, and I'm like, okay, kids, they got a kid, and the kid's probably running all over the grass and whatnot, and people are truly particular about their yards, right? But then when I came back, I saw from the kid to, it was like a whole bunch now. Okay, wait a minute. I can't even count how many kids are over there right now. And these were like young men. These were not the little kids tossing the football. These were older kids and so forth. And I commented in the group, okay, what's going on there? Because then, there's some alarming things that, make you want to wonder what your proximity is to this, right? And some people got offended the way I phrased it, and they were like, well, it could be this, it could be that. It is spring break. Right, spring break is a telltale sign of summer. Spring break is a telltale sign of summer. And I'm like, okay, well, they rushed over there. And a lot of people say, well, my house is usually the house. And that's okay. I used to be the same way. Let's get the kids off the block, make sure they're safe and all that kind of things. But you still don't let these kind of flags come up. Because they was like, well, I mean, if you felt like that, then, that might attract, if you saw that and thought that, then maybe, that house might attract some unwanted attention and this, that, and the other. Yeah, that's why let's discuss it. Because our proximity to that behavior, if that behavior throws up flags, then our proximity to that behavior is going to cause some problems, right? So if I became alarmed at the fact that the neighbor is having to say, when a neighbor has to say to another neighbor, no trespassing, then the neighbor is probably trespassing. And so we need to deal with that. And so we need to talk about it. And there were those, I said, when the ones that became a closed door, because the dog is trying to stay out, but he's getting a little agitated. So the neighbors in the group who had no problem with it, I began to gauge my proximity to them. Hey there, artists. So because I'm trying, because this is one, it should be, there's so many different concerns. First, we should be concerned about our young people, um, as they are already on many spectrums for things. If you're going to be that house that has them all over, then y'all need to be in the backyard because you need to keep them safe. Number two, you need to control the behaviors because if the neighbor, remember yesterday what we talked about. Let me go back. Remember yesterday, if you didn't listen to yesterday, we talked about tolerance and we talked about infringing. We talked about traditions, we talked about habits, and we talked about perception. Right? That's what we talked about yesterday. And then today we're coming back talking about proximity. Somebody who's going to break with tradition, you need to worry about the proximity. It's tradition to have a cookout. It's tradition to have young people over at spring break. Right? But we also need to understand the tolerance of our communities and the habits of these things that cause caution in our community, right? Because we already know we're over policed and underprotected, right? But we already talk about the perception of things. Now, the perception is now people are shooting up churches. You can't even go to church. Perception is because I done got a whole lot of perception on how certain things are infringing on our traditions. Right, it's tradition when it gets hot to go to the festival and have the taste events and those kinds of things, and to get out and enjoy our communities and our cities. That's the summer tradition. But if some people are going to have the habits they're going to challenge, that will challenge our tolerance, that's going to infringe on us doing that. You know, I didn't like having to call my day short yesterday. I'm like, okay, it's time to stop because it's getting real out here, right? I need to put some proximity. I need to within the proximity, increase the proximity between me and the city right now. It's time to get up out the city because things are going on in this city right now. Keep them on your property and in your space. But there's also a way to do that. And that's when you see that the neighbor had to put that. I was like, and I'm trying to tell them, I said, well, they thought I was making a quick judgment on the kids, but I told them my first thought of concern was the fact that a neighbor put some ugly cinder blocks down their property. Because when you're driving down that street, it's like first thing you look when you drive down the street or through a neighborhood, you look at the curb appeal. Curb appeal is real when it comes to property value, right? And then I see these cinder blocks. Like I said, he didn't put hedges. They didn't put a fence. It wasn't marked with the paint as if somebody was going to come and do a nice installation. It's some freaking cinder blocks. It's like this neighbor done got so mad. They done went up to the store and bought cinder blocks, right? And put a trespassing sign. No trespassing sign up. Now, mind you, my first thing is, okay, this neighbor finna freak out. They either a hoarder. You know, that was my thought. Because all I saw was the one young kid out tossing the football, right? But then when I came back, I saw, wait a minute, you got a grill on the, I don't want to describe the house too much, but it's like, it's a lot of front yard activity that should be taking place in the backyard. And it's a community where the yards are huge. Everybody has a huge, I just downsized. I'm so glad I don't have to do that yard thing no more. And I'm telling you, the yards are huge. I mean, our yards were like a park. You had and that's another thing. It's like when you're driving down the street, you have the houses are not like right on the street. Everybody has extended front yards, right? Because, I mean, we're well outside the city limits. Everybody has an extended front yard. So that's why I had to, like, really look to see, well, what's going on here? Because, yes, it's something that has to be discussed as a community. It's something that either is probably going to be discussed at the council meetings, the public safety meetings, and the people don't go to those things. So therefore, they don't know that these things do get discussed. You have to come on, hear people on social media. Nobody's talking about this. No, hella people are talking about it. They're just talking about it in the meetings that you don't go to. So if you don't go to the public safety meeting, right? Like right now, I'm thinking, whoa, what's going on with this? There's a lot happened yesterday on the first beautiful, warm, the first hot day, because it wasn't a gorgeous day. On the first hot day, we ended the day with all of this violence going on. So you better believe people are gonna be rolling up to their public safety meeting. I mean, hell, I woke up and I'm like, well, hell, with all the stuff that went on yesterday in every community, all these different community boundaries, right? All these different communities that had all these problems. Somebody should have been had in a press conference this morning. We should have been hearing from somebody's zone commander, police chief, or somebody should have been talking about something, because there was a whole lot of calls going out yesterday. And response teams, first responders. Hell, and the first how I knew about it, I was going online to post a video from the festival, from the taste event. And after I posted the video, I watched a friend's video. A friend posted either a wedding or something positive, absolutely positive. And after I watched their video, you know how you watch a video on social media and then it feeds you the next video. It fed me, which I'm like, is this? Why is this on my timeline? Why is this even part of my algorithms? I'm like, I need to sue Facebook, because the next video was a video that looked like it was recorded live. It was an actual shooting. And I'm listening and I'm like, wait a minute. I'm listening, like trying to figure out, what is this? It's live rounds being fired. The person filming is hiding behind their car, and people are running from bullets. That's the first video, second video I saw when I went on social media after I posted my own video of a food tasting. And I'm like, how I post a food tasting, I watch a friend's video, and then you show me this. Why am I seeing that? Hey, Denise and Evelyn coming in, right? Hey, Eco, Athan. I'm like, why? How am I seeing that in the first place, right? And not only that, these live rounds are being fired. Police are already on the scene. So it's like, and I'm sitting there going, wait a minute, all that shooting is happening while police are there? You got that kind of proximity to police, and yet still things are happening? Proximity. Check your proximity. And I'm like, whoa. And this, y'all, happened everywhere yesterday. It's like the news cycle was, I'm sure they were ecstatic. They didn't have no problem filling the news cycle yesterday. I mean, it looked like something coming out of, and you better believe people are like, okay, what's my proximity to this? Hey there. So I am looking at, and you know, I had already said I'm going to this and I'm going to that. I can't wait for the next jazz festival, the book festivals. I'm going to, I don't guess anybody be shooting at the book festival. You might not find me at the Freaknik or in anywhere in proximity to Freaknik. You won't find me at proximity. Only events I'm going to are those that have been, those are well established. You know, and you know what? One of the things I don't do, I don't go to events that have to be over policed, where you're over policed and under protected, right? If I arrive and I see a police car, I'm not going. I don't like events where, because sometimes it may be over police, but you're still under protected. So we're talking about proximity, because I know that's gonna keep some people watching the news today, gonna keep some people from getting out of bed. But I wanted to talk. I had originally planned to talk about your proximity to success, based on associations, industry. Let me see where we are on time. We got about 39. I got about 5 more minutes to go. When is the book festivals happen starting now? I usually follow Book TV, C-SPAN's Book TV, and they have a calendar of book festivals all over the country. Every city, every state pretty much has a national book festival on the national level. And those are the ones that C-SPAN will actually broadcast from, or they'll show footage. And so I usually try to delve into that. But think about it, in your traveling, especially if you are staying at Airbnbs And that's why I really wanted to see how these cities address that, because a lot of times, even though they're expecting, because they don't know, because I mean, conventions and things like that, and events and festivals are well planned, they're well organized, and they pay for security and all kind of things. So, and not only that, they hear about these things, they know these things are happening and coming, so they can do what's necessary to make sure that you are safe within a certain proximity. But then you got these pop-up type things that just grow, because of social media. And then you get there, and then the it's not safe and secure. Like somebody will go and place a post about a cookout, and they'll make it public instead of private. And then here come all these cars rolling through the car clubs and whatnot. So you just want to know about that. But like I said, maybe tomorrow I'm gonna make this a two-parter, because I do want to come in and talk about it as it relates to associations, industries, mentors, events, conferences. Today we had to just talk about peace of mind and your safety, y'all. And because even if you think about it, the young man who made it through the football draft and went out and got shot. Proximity, so close. He was so close there, and some people say he's probably going to draft. I think he'll go ahead. I think he'll make it, because I mean, like I said, they understand that they are literally saving these young men's lives, pulling them out of environments that they have had to maintain. They've had to live in. I mean, that's what sports has been forever and always, right? Sports has always been a savior for young men, and now women, as professional sports, as the professional women's teams grow. Most of them, the majority of them come out of dire situations, right? Some of them, that's just what sports has always been. That's why, they put their all into making these teams and going to these colleges and trying to get on these pro teams. But think about those that did not make it through the draft, that did not, that got to go back and do some more college, or they finished school and they didn't make it to the draft, and they got to go back to their neighborhoods, Because I mean, if you didn't become pro, I mean, here we are. What happens if you don't go pro? I mean, can't but so many of them go pro, right? What do they do? What do you do if you don't go pro? What if you do if you don't make the basketball, the football? People Bryson and suffered a heart attack, y'all. He'll be all right. I hope he'll be all right. But I mean, I'm just saying, what do you do if you don't make pro? We just finished the draft. What happens to those that didn't get picked? Look at that guy. I think somebody just interviewed him. The guy that came out in the light, came out gay, and then was waiting to see where he got slotted in the draft. And I think he ended up getting picked like last, and he's still having a hard time with a team. I don't even know if he's even currently playing. Proximity. People said he should have waited, but he wanted to get drafted in his truth. He wanted to get drafted in his truth. So that's the thing. So yeah, that was some years ago. Very public, because they choose certain players to broadcast with, and they had those cameras on him, and he had to literally sit there through every single solitary draft pick. I think he was like in the third round or fourth round. I don't know how many rounds they do. I don't even know about the draft like that, but I just remember. And then, finally he got picked, and he sat there, with his boyfriend, and teams were like, even though, I don't know, some say he just really wasn't a great player. And the whole gay agenda attached to it just made it worse. But he did get picked, but he didn't survive on the team. I think he ended up getting cut. And so on and so on. I tell you, proximity. We're talking about proximity. We're talking about proximity to this thing. I'm telling you, y'all. I don't know. He was picked up by a team. I can't remember which one. Yeah, he was picked up, and then he ended up getting cut. And then he's. I think at this point he has bounced from team to team, because he does when he tries out, he does do the walk-ons or whatever, or tryouts, or he does get hired. He just hasn't had success yet through the seasons and so forth. And I think somebody interviewed him. I think coming up to this draft, he got a couple of interviews, and he's gonna be one of those defeatist stories. You know how they say the agony of defeat. He's gonna be just one of those stories that'll always forever be told about the draft. So, all right, guys. I think we're about just 30 seconds over. Actually, I really want to talk. I think proximity served us well. Proximity. Just think about where we are, what's going on, where it is that you are, where it is that you're trying to be or trying to get to. Think about that and how, because especially now with even though we are now in territories where there are, the playing field is leveled, there are fewer barriers, if any, depending on your industry. In that there are fewer barriers that puts you in proximity. You're exposed. Ooh, write that down. Exposed, right? Ooh, isn't that a word? We'll come back and talk about the exposed part or how exposed we are in this new realm of reality, of visibility, broadcasting, everybody being able to broadcast. I mean, we knew we were coming here because I know everybody under the sound of my voice watched the documentary called We Live in Public. And so now you need to check your proximity to public, what that means about being public. Okay. Just like my neighborhood group was like, let's not talk about, the house with the cinder blocks and the house, and the two neighbors fighting about trespassing. They didn't want, so there were those that don't want to have the discussion. There are those that just don't want to have the discussion. Like, it's happening, but let's not talk about it. We need to talk about it so we can know where we are in our proximity. Because a lot of neighborhoods, a lot of communities, a lot of businesses, a lot of industries change when it's hot. Life changes when the temperature rises. Some people went to church yesterday and saw some of the worst things they'd ever see in their lives. Not at home, not in bad neighborhoods. Hell, the bad neighborhoods are probably good because they know, look, it's going to get hot. Don't start nothing, right? We might have needed it to be, because the shocker is the fact that it happened elsewhere. We might need to be in proximity to some what we consider or deem the bad neighborhoods, because those are the only ones ain't on the news. It's these other places that things happen that shocked us. You know what I'm saying? So you might want to roll to the cookout, because the guy who was filming the shootout, he survived. He knew the tactic of film it but hide. Okay, talk about it so you can make adjustments. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So that might need to be our proximity, because the fact of the matter is, all these other people out here trying to get these weapons and learn all these techniques to protect themselves, and those are the ones that's using this stuff incorrectly on themselves, on others. Selfies as bad for the skin as sunbathing. Y'all. That's probably why a lot of us having skin problems. Selfies as bad for the skin as sunbathing. What the heck does that mean? I gotta go find that study, because, honey, is it because of the heat, the rays hitting off there in the flesh? We gotta go find that, because everybody's got something going on with these selfies. Okay, proximity. We skipped over associations, industries, mentors, events, conferences. We went right to peace of mind and being exposed. Is your proximity to other things affecting your peace of mind? I know mine is. Because when I downsize, I moved to a different area and I'm like, oh my God, this proximity. I'm closer to the highway. I'm closer to the downtown area, which is what I wanted to be. But I mean, like outside, I'm still outside the city. But I was trying to get close to the downtown area, churches, grocery stores, theaters. Not safe, right? Proximity. You want to be in proximity to those things. I let me tell y'all, I was out driving the other day and I literally gave side eye. I passed a community, and this whole gentrification thing that's going on, right? And I passed the community and it said golf, and it said golf community, right? But then, I'm thinking, okay, golf community. And then I looked at the grocery store and I'm like, okay, that particular grocery store and this being a golf community, that doesn't go together. It's like you can't have a half million house up in this particular grocery store. Something ain't right with this picture, right? What's going on here? I was like, okay, let's keep going. This like that don't match, And there's so much growth stuff going on around here. I'm telling you, proximity, y'all. This is your gauge for today. This is how we're gonna check our thermostat today. We're gonna check our proximity. What is your proximity to peace of mind, to safety? I know one of the reasons I moved to this community, and even when I downsized, one of the reasons I decided to stay in the community because it is a proximity to a community of entrepreneurs, from the politics to public safety to innovation to what's available to. It's all this community is built up around entrepreneurs. The majority of the families here in this small city limits are entrepreneurs. They are small business owners. They have golf cart parking where I am in Albertson. Yeah, everybody's trying to get to that golf cart life, right? The first electric vehicles. I laugh every time I think about electric vehicles and I think about glorified golf carts. But that's one of the reasons, and as I look around, the state, because now it's like with the way proximity works here now and going into the future, you can live pretty much anywhere within the state. But this particular area caught my attention simply because, look, here come the police stuff again. It was a great place to raise kids. It was a great place health wise. It was a great place, but more importantly, it was a great place for entrepreneurs. And in one of the fewer areas that have a real true focus on your family, like the Chamber of Commerce. You always see ribbon cuttings, grand openings, businesses that are surviving. I just wanted to live in a community where, as I drive past the e-commerce that's not e-commerce, the commerce that's going on, that I know some of those business owners, because some communities you go in, everything is big name brand, big box stores. Even though we have some of the box stores are flanked by stores and franchises that the owner. I wanted that kind of lifestyle. That's how I grew up in communities where you knew who owned the gas station, or you knew who owned, you just knew you were supporting your neighbors and they were supporting you. They knew who they were serving. I love that. I love being in proximity to people who know and appreciate who they're serving, and that they're also hiring within the community. That's what my demands were when I thought about my living arrangement. That's what I wanted. So I wanted that proximity. I wanted the proximity to associations and industries and mentors and events. Like I said, I went to a jazz festival. I didn't have to go inside the Atlanta city limits to enjoy a jazz festival that's over policed and underprotected. I was able to go to a nice smaller venue, that just encompassed the neighbors, and some people like driving outside the city, in events and conferences and things I like going to things that are, even though I go to things that are across the country, I like things that come into the community, and a lot of things come into our community simply because we do have that makeup of small business owners. And then to peace of mind. I love when I was driving out of the city yesterday. One, it became dark. I got away from all that artificial light. I could see the stars, the moon. I'm like, whoa! I've been in the city all night. I hadn't seen the moon. And then you drive, a few miles outside the city, and like, let me get out of this city, and I can see the moon and the stars and so forth, and all those other things going on in the sky right now. And then peace of mind. And then I came home and I turned on the news, and then I realized how exposed I was in moving about the city and going to other communities. You want to make sure, you want to check how exposed you are. And I usually tell people, don't watch the news, because it will give you that false sense of not security, but sometimes it can give you a false sense of insecurity. You don't need to be as insecure as you are about things. That's the thing. Write that down. Let me write that down. Okay, we're losing that one. So it's time to go. One of my devices just died. Insecurity. False sense of, we're going to talk about that one day. I'm going to write that down. False insecurity. sometimes things can give us a false, because I got home, because I was out and enjoying the day, and then I was like seeing all these stories on social media, and then seeing all them stories happening in real time on social media, and then seeing some of them encapsulated in the news cycle. Did that give me a sense of security or a false sense of insecurity, right? Because if I look at this, I'm going to say, well, wait, I was nowhere near that, and I was nowhere near that, and I was nowhere near that. Proximity. It all comes back to proximity. And on that note, y'all, we're going to end this so that we don't have to reiterate. I did reiterate a couple times just because people do cycle through. This will become a podcast if you do want to listen again or share with a friend. When I hit the stop button, you'll have the replay wherever you are right there, right now. Just stay. If you didn't share it while we were live, do share the replay. Now that you know all that has been said and done, make sure that if you're on the platform and you see a like button, hit that like button, or hit the follow, or subscribe, hit the subscribe. And we do these. This is a daily podcast about living daily, which means we do them 7 days a week, just a few minutes, come in and talk about it. Because if I'm going to start today, I'm going to find some time to come in and chat with you guys. Also, if you have your favorite podcast platform, the audio will be available on those in just a few minutes after I hit the stop button. And then I'm going to go and do what you guys do and get out of this bed and start my day. All right. So everybody, please have a great day. Please make sure that you're not overexposed for the rest of the day. Just kind of check your proximity after you get out of bed. But before you do all of that, I need you to do one more thing, and that is
go now to DryerBuzz.com and follow @DryerBuzz on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. It's all about the buzz.